Okay, we're back on track.
Back on track.
Back on track.
Well, what I wanted to say, what I started to say, was when we were going up to Bastow, after we had got off the truck and it was marching up, marching and walking. These tanks were turned around and heading the other direction.
German tanks?
No, American tanks. American tanks were heading out of there and heading out of Bastow.
It's not very encouraging for you.
And no, and that's what I thought, and I hollered up to one of the tank men. I did. I hollered up, hey, I said, where you guys going? And he said, it's too hot for us up there. We're getting out of there.
Oh, no.
And I, right then, I said, Ayres, you're going the wrong direction, baby. You don't belong going up there. The tank can't stay up there. What's the infantryman going to do up there?
Right.
Well, we went out ahead anyway.
Wow.
So we went in and got surrounded. Got ourselves surrounded by the Germans. But it was an experience. Fortunately, at that time, when we first went up, it wasn't too cold. It wasn't too bad. And it got worse every day. It got worse. And then we found out that, well, the first day, I dug 6 foxholes.
Oh.
6 foxholes. They moved us. I mean, they kept moving us so the Germans wouldn't know where we were. I guess that's why they were moving. And like I said, I finally, after the 6th one, I said, I'm not digging another foxhole. This is all during the night, all night long. I said, I'm not digging another foxhole. I don't care. And I sat in the ground. And just about that time, artillery shells start coming in. I said, Lord, why didn't I dig that foxhole? And because, you know, you're laying out there and these shells are coming in. It's not a good experience.
No.
You want to get in the hole if you can.
I bet.
So I got as low as I could and laid on the ground and stayed there. And as you can see, fortunately I wasn't hit, didn't do any damage. That was scary.
I bet. I bet.
And from then on, I never argued. I never again did I say, I'm not going to dig a foxhole. I dug it about as deep as I could dig it and still see out of it.
Right. Oh, in December, the ground had to be so hard.
Well, at that time, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It was hard, but it wasn't solid. You know, it wasn't frozen solid. But from then on, after that, I mean, it got colder, and it got colder, and it got snowier, and heavier, and heavier, colder, colder. And then, whenever you tried to dig a foxhole, if you didn't have one already dug, you almost needed dynamite to blast it out. Because, I mean, it was frozen solid.
Goodness.
You had a tough time digging a foxhole.
I bet.
You hopefully used somebody else's.
Right.
Right. How were you dressed?
Well, I fortunately at the beginning I had a top coat. I hadn't my olive drab outfit on. But we didn't have really winter gear. We had regular Army uniform. And I had an Army top coat. But on that excursion out of my strategic withdrawal, I got caught on a barbed wire fence. And my top coat and backpack went with there on the fence, and hung on the fence.
No.
I took off and left it because the Germans were shooting. I could see them. You know, the marks flying, popping up. Oh no, I'm not worrying about that top coat. I'm going.
Right.
And I did that. That's like I said. And when I started running out of there, trying to get out. But from then on, I was just dressed in the khaki, or not khaki, but an olive drab uniform. I lost my gloves.
Oh, no.
So how'd you stay warm?
Well, you're not supposed to do this, but we did. We built fires. Whatever you do, don't build a fire. We built fires. We kept warm. And like I say, at the time, that was about the only way you could keep warm. However, we did on occasion, with 3 of us would sleep together. Or sleep. You lay down together.
Right.
And hopefully fall asleep. And you do fall asleep because you eventually get so tired, you have to fall asleep. And I remember one time, 3 of us, we had one blanket. There was 3 of us laying together. and we had our helmet. We were laying on our helmet with our head on the helmets. I woke up in a pool of sweat. I was perspiring because the blanket was covered with snow. The snow was all the way up to my face, just about. And that snow on top of that blanket made it so hot in there, it was like an oven. It really was. I was warm. I mean, that was the first time I was warm in a long time. But it snowed so bad hard that there must have been a foot of snow on top of that blanket.
Oh, gosh.
But it felt good. And then, of course, then we got up and when we woke up. Fortunately, nobody ran into, we didn't have any Germans attack us or anything
Right.
at that time. But we went at night, we would go on patrol. Usually, we would go out and try and see where the Germans were, see if we could contact them or go where we could hear something that we knew was a German. But like I say, we were surrounded. They came and told us, if they overrun your position, don't back up because there's no place to go.
Really?
They said, stay in your home, and if they overrun your position, duck down, and hopefully they'll go past, and when they go past, you turn around and start shooting the other direction.
No kidding.
That's what they told us.
Wow.
I said, okay, we're in trouble.
I guess. Were you able to get any reinforcements in?
No. No, well, all the way up through Christmas. I think on the 23rd or the 24th of December. Well, the planes couldn't fly because it was so foggy too, and it was
right.
cold and foggy, and you couldn't see hardly. I mean, it was so foggy from more than a couple feet in front of you. Of course, the planes couldn't come in. But finally, I know I called one time. I called for artillery fire on one position. I could hear the Germans, the tanks rolling out there. And I called for artillery fire up there. But they radioed back and said, sorry, we don't have any ammunition, we can't fire. Well, I was down very low myself. I had little ammunition. And they always, it seemed like after we got into Bastogne and got in the fight, they either put me on a machine gun or a riding automatic rifle. I always had an automatic weapon. And that was quite an experience.
So
And then, like I said, you run out of ammunition eventually, and if you don't get supplied. But right before Christmas, I remember the planes, it's cleared up, the planes come over and drop supplies to us in the Bastogne. And you never heard such a roar in your life when those planes come over and start dropping supplies. And we got food and everything else, about food. K rations or C rations, whatever you get. But anything would have been good. And ammunition. So we took the parachutes and lined our foxholes with them and covered with it. And that's what we used to keep warm. Pretty much.
Were there many civilians left in Bastogne when you were stuck there?
There were a few, not many.
Yeah.
They had been evacuated.
Yeah.
But there were a few civilians in there. I know when we went into Marby, I was walking down, and there was an older gentleman and his wife were standing there as we were marching in. But they pretty much got out of there. They knew what was happening.
Right.
The citizens that did stay in Bastogne, how did they react to you? Like, were they really nice to you? Or
Yeah,
hospitable?
I think they're more indifferent, really. I mean, not now. They really appreciate what we did for them, I'm sure. Because they have built, in fact, I was going to wear the shirt. When we went over there, when we went to Bastogne, they have a Bastogne Historical Society that they have built, and it's beautiful. They have a monument with all 48 states listed on there.
Oh, wow.
And each state has its own pillar, and then in the center it's big emblem. I forgot exactly what it is. I got pictures of it, I can show you.
Yeah.
But they have off of that, they have a historical society building where you can go in and see all the different pieces of equipment and that was there. And they also have a store, where you can buy stuff. And of course, I don't know if you know about General McAuliffe. When we were surrounded, the Germans sent in a couple of people, German soldiers, to tell us to surrender or be annihilated. That we were surrounded by the crack German troops. That if we didn't surrender, we would be annihilated. And so General McAuliffe said, "What am I going to tell them?" And the lieutenant said, "Hey, tell them what you just said." He said, "Oh, I'm nuts." So he did. He sent the reply back. And when they went back, they said, "What?" When they took it back to the Germans, is that affirmative or
Right. What does that
negative
mean?
or what? He said, "That means go to hell." and they said, "Well, we got it right where we want them now." But I'll tell you one thing, that I think was a rallying cry
Yeah.
for all the troops.
How did you hear about it?
But what?
Him saying that, him passing that
They
message
came
on.
and told us.
They did.
Yeah.
They made sure you heard about it.
The Germans think they want us to surrender. We're not going to surrender. There's no way.
Definitely.
And that's true. We were about to surrender. We would have died before we surrendered.
Yeah. Why?
Why? Just the way we were. We just would not surrender. I wouldn't surrender.
Yeah.
I would not have surrendered.
Do you think that's because you were the 101st Airborne? Yeah. It's everything I've heard. That's the stories I've heard. No way, no how.
No way. That's right. No way. No way.
How did you spend Christmas of 1944? What would you do?
Well, we put up Christmas trees. Of course, there's lots of them. We put up little ones. And we hang hand grenades and we did. We hung hand grenades and the clips of ammunition and stuff on the tree. That's how we decorated. We decorated and then we sang Christmas carols. We stood and sang Christmas carols. But that's how we spent Christmas. Frozen to death. Singing Christmas carols with a Christmas tree decorated with ammunition.
Did you get any special meal for that?
Did what?
Any special meal for Christmas?
No,
Just
no
ate
way.
whatever
They couldn't.
you
They couldn't get anything in other than what they dropped from the sky.
So what kind of food did you eat? Or did you eat at all?
Well, yeah. At one time we got into our group, my squad, our squad, got into this one house. Went into one house and they had chickens in there. So we did eat had some eggs, and we built a fire, cooked some eggs and a couple of chickens.
But that was quite a treat.
Yes, that was good. That tastes almost as good as steak. But then, whenever we finally got out of there, which we eventually did get out of Bastogne, we did not surrender. And that's one of my buddies that I was telling you about that went through jump school. And he and I and this other fellow on this flanking attack. And we had to move up with a machine gun up to the position there at the bridge to protect the bridge. And there was a railroad track. The bridge went over the railroad tracks, and we were going along the hillside there. Of course, it was snowing, a lot of snow there. We were sliding and falling, slipping. We finally got to the bridge where we wanted to be, and we stopped. Set the machine gun up there at the corner. And he and I are sitting like you and I, only when he and I were a little closer together talking. And all of a sudden, pow, I heard it. It hit right smack between the eyes. I mean, it popped him right between the eyes. He was sitting like that, he had his helmet back, he hit the back of his helmet and flipped it up in the air, and blew the back of his head out. And the helmet came down and landed right in his lap.
No kidding. And you were right next to him.
I'm sitting right next to him talking to him. To this day, I always say, 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Could have been me instead of him.
Yeah.
He was, like I said, at that time, I mean, in the Army, he was the best buddy I had. Oh, man, that's no place for me, man. So I climbed up on the outside and went down in the ditch. I stayed in the ditch until the Germans started coming in, and I was opening up with a machine gun. Well, by the time the Germans got back, then he and myself and this other guy picked up the machine gun and carrying it on to set up down further, and that's when I got wounded.
Yeah.
I was carrying a machine gun, and I guess it was the same sniper, or could not necessarily, but it probably was. But the bullet went right through my arm.
Goodness.
And the barrel of the gun, of course, when you're carrying, I carry the front end of it by the front plate tripod, hit the barrel of the gun, ricocheted off the gun, and went through my pants all the way through the shorts, and put a crease on my leg. It put a burn mark on my leg.
No
At the
kidding.
hip. But it didn't break the skin. It just hit the arm there, and I could see the bone. Good Lord, I've been wounded. I knew when I was hit, it was like a poker. Of course, I let go of the gun,
Right.
and it felt like a hot poker going. But I thought I'd been shot in the leg too.
Right, I bet.
And so, of course, the medic come over, but it went through. At that time, I had my fatigue. I had a fatigue jacket, and top coat, and pants, two pair of pants on, and my underwear, and it went right through, put a hole right through all of them. But it bent the barrel of the gun like that.
No kidding.
Yeah, when it ricocheted off. Fortunately, otherwise it would have gone right through my hips.
Right.
Right straight through.
Right.
And it bent that gun. And when I came back to my outfit again, after I went to the hospital, they took me to, I got to tell you this. They said, okay, when the medic patched it up, put software on it and all that, and bandage and everything, he said, go back to the aid station. I said, right, where's the aid station? It's back that way. Okay. Of course, we're in the Ardennes forest.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm trying to find an aid station in the Ardennes forest. And I'm walking back here, and I'm going down this little path, like, just wide enough for my Jeep. I'm walking along here, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 hit it. And holy mackerel, I'm going to get it. So I dove into the side of the ditch over there, and I laid there, and one hit in front of me, and one hit behind me, another one, and I got up and started going.
Wow.
And then I thought, oh, well, where am I going? So I started looking around, and I saw this telephone cable line laying on the ground. So I walked over there, and I picked it up and looked at it, and it had U.S. thing on it. Baby, I'm following that thing. It's going to take me somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going to. So I grabbed hold of it, and I walked with my left arm, carrying it in my left arm. And I wouldn't let go of that thing either. But I followed it, and it took me back to a headquarters, but it wasn't mine. It was another. I asked him where the 101st I Company aid station was, and he said, I don't know. Thanks a lot. I said, well, I'm supposed to go to the aid station. He finally called and found out where it was, and so they put me on a Jeep and took me over to
that's
the
nice.
aid station there, and then they sent me to the hospital in Luxembourg, field hospital, and I was there in Luxembourg for a few days, and then they decided I better go to General Hospital, so they sent me back to Paris, the General Hospital in Paris. So I spent a few weeks in Paris at the hospital, and I was treated pretty well there. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a private room. They had me in a private room.
Wow.
It was nice. Yeah, but I enjoyed it. Well, I enjoyed it. I mean,
Right.
you know.
Recovering from your injury.
Yeah. I wasn't doing any duty.
Right.
I was had nice clean sheets and bed to sleep in on
Right.
every night.
Probably plenty warm.
Warm,
Plenty of
yeah,
food.
and I could leave the hospital, but I was I mean, I wasn't. The only thing I couldn't use my arm,
Right.
but I had that in a sling, and I slew left-handed. But it was hard. Then when I got back to the outfit, the guy said, "Hey, come here." The supply sergeant said, "Come here, I want to show you something." So I went back, and sure enough, they still had the machine gun.
Did they really?
They did. And I said, "What in the world do you keep that for?" Because it had a bend in it. They said, "Oh, we kept that for shooting around corners." Great. So you had some fun.
Shooting around.
But for me, the hardest, or the scariest thing, more than anything else, was when this plane came in and strafed you. Because there's nothing you can do.
Right.
You lay there and just hope that the bullets don't hit. One time, it just came right down both sides. Like that.
Wow.
That's scary. Yeah, I mean, I'm not easily scared, but I was scared.
Were you strafed a lot? I mean, by
No.
December '44, the German Air Force was in pretty bad shape,
Yeah, well,
wasn't
this
it?
was up in Bastogne.
Yeah.
They were still flying there.
Yeah.
But not much.
Yeah.
But we got strafed a couple of times, and that's scary.
I bet.
That's scary. This other stuff, I mean, it's scary too, but it's not like that, because there's absolutely nothing you can do. You know, I mean,
Right.
unless you could crawl into a hole and get inside a hole, like a mole.
Right.
But you can't do that. I mean, even if you're in the foxhole, if he happens to come right along on that foxhole, he's going to hit you.
Right. That's a good point. Right. No place to
So
hide.
that's scary. That was to me, I guess, was the scariest thing.
I bet.
How were you and your company, the morale, the spirits? Were you guys, because you were surrounded, did you guys think you could defeat the Germans, or what was going through your minds?
It never occurred to us that we were going to be annihilated. We said, no way. And we all felt that way. I mean, everyone I talked to and everyone that I knew. I mean, you know, hey, we're going to beat them. We'll beat them. I don't know how, but we will beat them. Because it was getting pretty bad there after a while. You know, you start running out of ammunition, you're going to have to find some way of killing them. You know. And if you don't have any ammunition, then you got to start figuring on getting a knife or something.
Right.
So it's pretty scary. But we had no thoughts of ever surrendering or being annihilated. That was further stuff.
Just not gonna do it.
No way.
How did you relieve the tension in the war, the fear?
That I don't know. I mean, I just never thought about it, I guess. I never really thought much about it. I mean, I knew it was in a war. I knew they were shooting at me and trying to kill me, and I'm trying to kill them, but I never even thought about it. I guess it really never struck home until I got wounded that I could get killed. I could have got killed then, but it didn't.
Right.
I could have got killed when a buddy got us.
Right.
That made me sit up and take notice. I thought, hey, there's only two of us here, and he picked him, and not me.
Was that a real turning point for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that shook me up.
So that was the same day you got wounded,
That's the same day I got wounded.
within just a few hours.
Yeah,
Really.
right, exactly. In a few hours, yeah. And it was on the 12th of January, and they pulled the 101st Airborne off the line on the 13th. One day after I got wounded,
Wow.
they pulled them off the line. But I did get to go back to Paris.
Right. Right. A liberated Paris.
Yes, yeah, right, a liberated Paris. Yeah.
Right. Well, how did you feel when they sent you back to join your group? Were your emotions about that different from the first time you went into combat?
No,
No?
no, I wanted to get back and see my buddies, see my friends. I wanted to go back there. There's no way I was going anywhere else. I had to go back.
Just to be with them.
Just to be with them, that's right,
Yeah.
exactly right. Just to be with them.
I've read some books, and I've read that there was a fear that the Germans would imitate Americans and pretend to be Americans. And was there fear?
Oh, yes, we knew it. We knew it because they came and told us. They said, there's Germans running around out here in American uniforms.
Really?
And they speak English. So be careful. Be careful.
How would you be able to distinguish between a real American and a German pretending to be?
Fortunately, I never encountered it. But I would guess the only way you could do it would be by asking them some question about America that they wouldn't know, that they should know. I mean, that's the only way I would know. Only the way I know I would do it.
Right.
But fortunately, I never encountered it. Wherever they weren't in our area.
Wow.
I also read somewhere that I'm not. You might want to clarify me too if I'm incorrect. But did George Patton send the 10th Army to help the 101st in Bastogne?
They're the ones that liberated. I mean, they're the ones that got us out of Bastogne.
So, do you believe that they were necessary to save the 100 or rescue the 101st
Oh yeah.
from
Oh
Bastogne?
yeah. As a matter of fact, they came around. They started telling us, that Patton's army is coming in, and they're going to be breaking through any minute now, or any hour now. Well, that was 3 days it took them finally, before they finally broke through. And it was a celebration when they got through. Yes, that was a celebration because we knew then we were free.
Right.
We had made it. And once we knew we were out, then we start going after them. But up until that time, we were trying to save our skins rather than attacking anybody. But once Patton broke through and broke the donut, then we started attacking because we got the ammunition, the guns, and everything we needed then.
You could finally do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how do you react? I read in a book, I think it was Dean Ambrose's Band of Brothers, and he said that keeping the 101st Airborne in Bastogne was the single most important decision of the whole battle of the Bulge. Do you agree with that? Or what's your opinion of that?
Well, I don't think anybody else could have done it. I think the 101st was the only, well, maybe the 82nd might have done too, but I think it was either 82nd or 101st Airborne would have been the only ones that could have held Bastogne. And I think not only were we the only ones able to do it, we were lucky too, because if the Germans had wanted to break through, I think they could have break through and wiped us out. But they wouldn't have got any live ones. We would not have been taken prisoner.
So what did you do after that storm?
Well, I sat in Ayres Hospital for a while. And then I finally went back to the outfit. And we hung around Mormon friends for a while. And then we got leave. And I got 2 weeks leave.